Location in the country, soil type and weather all impact on the grass that these dairy cows eat. But how exactly do we get from this to this? Not everyone has the opportunity to visit a farm, and it's my job in the next few minutes to explain how milk is produced. And I've started off in a major retailer where we can see all of the products that come from milk. And I'm here to meet the manager who's responsible for the relationships with dairy farmers.
Fresh milk is by far the biggest product that we're selling. Over 1 billion litres a year we sell of fresh milk. Dairy is a key part to what our customers are looking for. Within the store, over 90% of shopping baskets would have dairy product in them. We have 700 dairy farms that supply us on fresh milk, and we also work with a group of cheese suppliers who have also a further 100 farmers who are working closely with us.
Meet dairy farmer Abby Reader on her farm in Wales.
We are Red Tractor assured, which means that we abide by all the standards that we set as a farming industry, set according to welfare, hygiene and environmental. On average in a day, at the moment through the summer, our cows are producing approximately 27 litres per head. If we look at that in total in terms of a year, it's approximately 8,000 litres per cow per 365 days.
Paul is a dairy farmer in Yorkshire and explains how he cares for his cows.
These girls spend most of their time indoors here, where I'm able to take care of their every need. So I make sure they have a healthy diet and access to fresh water, a nice open shed, somewhere to go and lie down once they've eaten. And it's really important to me that my number one priority with these cows is that they are happy and healthy.
Caring passionately about animals and their welfare is underpinned by legislation and factors known as the 5 freedoms. Professor John Webster at the University of Bristol explains.
3 physical things: freedom from hunger and thirst, comfort, freedom from disease and injury, and then the 2 emotional ones, freedom from fear and stress, and freedom, these days, freedom of choice, which is sort of behavioural freedom. At Bristol, we've developed those into quality assurance schemes and quality assurance monitoring. And so we have outcome-based measures for assessing the health and welfare of the dairy cows, the physical and the emotional states. These things are for use in practice to assure that you address all the elements of cow welfare.
I think that by keeping the cows happy and healthy all of the time, then they're going to provide me with plenty of delicious milk, which is what we're here to do. So the brush is a good example of that. The cows enjoy standing by it and being brushed and groomed. Do they produce any more milk as a result? Well, I don't know, but if it keeps them happy, that makes me happy too.
Doesn't matter whether your cows are in or out, grass is going to make up the bulk of your diet here in the UK. It's very important that we're growing the right grass and it's nice and tasty and it's presented to them so that they want to eat it. We've actually got quite a key number of people in our team. We have our vet, who I will speak to certainly weekly, and they will come out at least fortnightly. We also have our breeding specialist who comes out daily. I have a nutritionist who will come out at least once a month. And I have a foot trimmer who comes out and does pedicures for the cows.
All dairy farms have a herd health plan, which is reviewed with a professional. I met Abby's vet, Tom, to talk about his role on the farm.
Historically, our profession was a lot more of a reactive profession. So farmers would ring us up when there was an emergency and they needed someone to come and do what we call fire brigade things. But over the last couple of decades, it's become a lot more proactive, preventing disease happening in the first place, making sure the animals are fit, well, healthy and productive. Interestingly, a calf is born with no immunity whatsoever. So it gets all of its immunity from the colostrum from its mother. So it's important to get that in as quickly as possible, as cleanly as possible, and as big a quantity as possible, to give that calf the best start in life.
Breeding healthy calves is an important part of life on the farm, and farmers rely on a specialist.
So bulls are tested and assessed for many different traits, health traits, fitness traits, and we then have the option to choose sires that may have more of a resistance to disease, such as TB.
Okay, so she seems to be standing in a nice relaxed way.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
As stress-free as we can. So my left arm is feeling for where I need to put the rod. Once I'm sure about where it's going, we'll gently put it in. We then pass the rod slowly through the cervix and deposit the semen. Well done, girl.
What's your approach to the use of antibiotics here?
Well, I think it's right that we're concerned about it. It is a problem that, as an industry, we are looking at all the time. Certainly with regards to antibiotics, it's all about monitoring how much we use and what we use it for, and are there better ways of doing it? You know, what's coming through that's new in the industry? Where's the new research, the new technology? Any animal that requires treatment will have treatment. It's more about trying to think proactively, hence the reason we are always in dialogue with the vet, the nutritionist and all these people, so that we're planning ahead to try and ward off any problems that may occur.
The vet adds the most value when he's in on the health and welfare planning from the outset. And we teach our students at Bristol in a big way to the whole concept of health and welfare planning, and that adds real value.
So should we really be growing food to feed to cows? Shouldn't we be growing that food to feed ourselves?
That is a very common argument put forward by the vegetarian and vegans. In fact, in the case of the dairy cow, it's absolutely categorically wrong. The dairy cow gets about 60 to 70% of her food from forage and byproducts and other things which you cannot eat ourselves. So we're feeding with complementary foods rather than competitive foods. And in consequence to that, the hard-working dairy cow produces about 40% more energy and protein for human consumption than she consumes in the form of food that we could eat ourselves. That makes her a very valuable creature indeed.
It's very important that we monitor the quality of our milk. We're obviously paid particularly on the degree of milk solid. So that's the richest part of the milk, the valuable bit that you want to turn into your butter, your yogurt and your cheese. And then obviously we have the liquid part of the milk, which is where the bulk of our product goes, and that will go into the bottle that you see on your shelves. Other qualities we look for in the milk, we're also very interested in protein. Obviously it's a very important part of people's diets. It's also very important for the cow. If we have a good level of protein, it means that she's performing well and her body is working right for her.
The quality is really important because my milk buyer or my processor that purchases the milk from me sets some criteria for my milk. The reality is that a happy, healthy cow will produce the most nutritious milk and plenty of it.
Milk is processed at plants around the country.
Okay, so we have about 80 tankers a day come onto site. It goes to our raw lab. We do various checks, and providing all the milk passes the quality checks, it then goes to a raw milk silo, and then we route it up to the pasteurisers. We pasteurize it, and then we cool it to 2 degrees, and we put it into the finished milk tanks, where then it goes on to be bottled.
We collect milk within a 30-mile radius of the site, fresh from the farm daily. We process about 1.8 million litres of milk here at Bridgewater on a daily basis, and across the UK, annually it's about 3.7 billion litres.
From what I've seen, producing delicious, nutritious milk is a complicated business, and a business it is, as farmers have got to balance many things to make their businesses work. This is British dairy farming.